Welcome to WTF.Reydio. I'm Sean, KX7, WTF. Have you ever wondered what the freak is amateur radio or ham radio? Well, today I'm going to try to explain a little bit of it. And later on, I asked a few operators and we'll listen to their answers, see what they say. Well, in short, ham radio is a hobby of using radios to communicate with others without cell phones or help from the internet, usually. Best way to explain it, it's like a CB radio, but way clearer sound most of the time. Or like when you get those little walkie-talkies from Walmart that, claim they can do like 20 miles, but barely get around the block half the time. Well, we can talk around the world. Well, one of the biggest questions is what do ham operators do? Well, we use radios to talk, send messages, send images, send data messages, or even use Morse code, or we call it CW. We send those across town, across the world, sometimes even to space. Some of us experiment with wireless technology, for example, something like Wi-Fi, but for radio. Others participate in radio sports or contesting, which is basically seeing how many people you can talk to from different states, countries, in a given period of time, or sometimes a lifetime. We can even provide emergency communications and support or essential support communications. This is usually done for like natural disasters or while we're storm spotting or even helping with local events, something like a Boston Marathon. And that's just a small list of things we do. Let's ask some of the other operators and see what they say.
Radio mean to me? It's a lot of technology for me, but the other big thing for me, I guess, would be friends. The number of people that I've met on radio and the number of people I've met because of radio and associated with radio, huge thing for me. Being able to chat and visit with folks that, are local, as well as I had a QSO with a gentleman on granted it was text, but he and I met because of somebody else in ham radio in Japan this week. And being able to learn a little bit from him, as well as share some information and back and forth. That wouldn't happen without ham radio. That's a big part of it for me, and just being able to do some of that stuff. KG5RTO.
Ham radio is a lot like the gentleman before me. Just checked in. I started out in 11 meters in 1977 at 16 years old, and with TV radio, and then got into ham radio in 1991. Tested hardened electronics in East Fort Worth when Fort Worth had a ham store, and several of us migrated from 11 meters to 2 meters actually, and so over the years a lot of changes happened. In the last 2 years, a major change happened for me in ham radio. I bought my Yaesu 991 and I became a Yaesu customer, so that led to me buying a Yaesu 300 and a Yaesu 100, and the 100 I have dedicated to the Yaesu digital platform called C4FM or Wires X. So that opened a whole new window. I had been doing a little bit of DMR prior, and but not a lot. A little bit, a couple of the the rooms that talk group 3100 called the TCI Bridge. Spent a good bit of time on there in 2021, 2022. But now with Wires X, man, it's just wide open. It's interesting. I call it glorified HF. But anyway, also the camaraderie with the ham radio clubs. I'm a member of Dakara and a member of 2 clubs in Colorado Springs, the Pikes Peak Radio Amateur Association and another club there called the Village 7 Amateur Radio Club. And I I'll try to make 3 to 4 meetings a year up there. And it all works out where I can actually make every meeting for Dakara. Those meetings up there don't interfere with the meetings here. And I love the camaraderie now that I'm retired, and also, going to the sidewalk sales and the local ham fest. And it's a big window. But people ask me, a civilian, someone that's a normie, I call them a civilian, someone that's not ham radio, asked me about the radio.
I get a license, and it was just an incredible outing. We had 4 stations set up and running all modes, all bands. It was just an incredible outing. That's what ham radio means to me.
Wow, that's a really, I mean, there's a lot to that question, so I'll keep it brief, but, as KI5PEC just said, it's a great hobby, so there's that aspect to it, but really what got me into it was the public service and emergency communications side of it, and just all the friendship with so many great hams around here is really what's kept me in the hobby, and all that. It's truly a great hobby with plenty of activities to do in it. There's no shortage of things to learn, and thanks to everyone who's helped mentor me in all of ham radio and made me the operator I am. And this was the first net I ever checked into, and it's still got to be my favorite net.
Well, I've been listening to the net while I've been working on some fixtures for the high school band. That is kind of a long question because I originally got into it back in '94 as a public service thing, and it just kind of grew into playing with all kinds of the variety of the technology, the things we have access to, and what I get into kind of changes from time to time. So right now it's playing with antennas, antenna designs, and portable operations. So I'd say it's a variety of things that we can do.
That is probably the shortest, quickest answer I think you could have came up with. But you're right. There's all kinds of things to do, and if you get bored with one, you can move on to the next one, and then come back to what you were working on before later. That is probably one of the greatest things about this hobby. There's all kinds of things to get into.
Yeah, mainly for me lately it's been antennas and portable operations. So some of it's been HF antennas, some of it's been VHF and UHF. So I've kind of scaled back on radio right now, but it's mainly because of high school band, and that tends to hit me about mid-August through about the middle of November. That's why y'all haven't seen a whole lot of me lately. I'm the prop manager this year, so doing that and repairs on band stuff. So my ham radio skills are actually going to get used Monday night because I got to repair an XLR cable that got damaged on Saturday's competition.
It's amazing how certain things come in when you don't think you're going to need them. But appreciate you checking in. Thanks, Guy.
This is the first net I ever checked into, probably back in 2017, with a Baofeng and a tape measure Yagi antenna. It was a really fun net back then. It's better today, I think, than it ever was. But it was a good net for new hams. Let me reset for a second. But ham radio overall is a huge part of my life, and I enjoy the hobby, the people. I enjoy just the experimentation part of the process. So it's an amazing hobby. I'm not into it as much for the emergency communications and things like that, but I really just enjoy the experimentation and just seeing what can happen under the right circumstances.
First of all, thanks for running the net. This is a great net. I'm fairly new to ham radio. It's less than a year, but I really enjoy the kind of the dual aspects of ham radio. You've got the technical side, which is really, and then you've got the social aspect, which is kind of rare to find hobbies that mix two very diverse things like that together. So I guess that's what I like about it the most. Over.
We're just doing ham radio.
For running the net, and boy, what a loaded question. I would start out by saying a never-ending learning process. So we've been hams as a family for about 3 years, maybe coming up on 4, and it has just been one thing after another. So definitely a learning process, and just something, the camaraderie within the ham community is just amazing. I guess gifted us or borrowed us. They made a Joda station workout this weekend for Texas Trail Life, amateur radio club that Sam has put together. It was a pretty cool weekend. We got up in camp up, I guess it was close to Nakona, and yeah, got a 5 or 6 of the aluminum military masts up, one of RJR's hooks, sky hooks, and a long wire that we borrowed from KO5C, and Sam forgot coax.
We're ham operators. How do we forget coax?
Was in another one of his go bags. So, at any rate, I was able to salvage enough coax unused out of my truck and solder it together with a solder that I just happened to have in the truck with about 3 inches of solder, and got us a working station. And then come to find out the radio that he brought, he hadn't tested the mic. It had a broken battery tray, and we ended up getting on the air and made quite a few contacts with about 50 trailmen. So it was very good for the little kids to see, some of the older kids to get involved with, and yeah, we had a lot of fun. Pretty new to it, kind of exploring all of the variety of options that it has to offer, beyond the analog, the DMR.
A huge thank you to the guys that joined us on the air for the Digital Lee Speaking Net. Now that you have an idea of what this hobby is all about, why don't you come and join us on the air? Soon I'll be posting videos to help you on your first level or technician class license. You can always find more information about that and other things on the ARRL website, and you can even find a club local to you. The link for that will be in the description below. Thanks for watching. If you have any ideas for future videos or any critiques for me, leave them in the comments below. Until next time, catch you on the air. 73 for now.